Are you struggling to organize your paychecks? In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a digital budget by paycheck notebook that we will keep track of all of your paychecks throughout the year and not have to deal with any paper clutter or smudgy mistakes or anything like that. So stay tuned, we're going to get into it. Hi everybody, welcome to Manifesting Money, where magical meets practical. My name is Sarah. I am a digital, cashless paycheck budgeter, which means I do not cash stuff envelopes. I keep track of everything digitally, and I use no cash in my system. So it is that time of year where we get to start looking ahead at 2025. So I'm going to walk you through setting up your own digital cashless paycheck budget one step at a time using free PDFs that I've created for you to use, because I don't think you should have to spend money to start getting your finances in order. So let's get into it. So I use Noteful, and we're going to create a brand new notebook. So from wherever you are, get back to your main screen. In the notebooks here, there's a plus in the corner. We're going to create a notebook. Pick whatever cover you like. We're going to go with green. The paper that I have is just a grid paper, and we're going to call this our budget by paycheck notebook. Budget by paycheck, and we're going to make sure that we note that this is 2025. I did start budgeting in the very end of 2023. So I've made it the whole year doing budget by paycheck, and honestly, it has made such a huge difference. I have truly gone from wondering where all my money went to knowing where my money goes. And it has just given me such clarity and hope. And it's been life-changing. So I'm hoping that y'all will have the same experience. So once we've created that notebook, it opens it right up. In our Budget 101 series, we did create a few pages that are going to be useful here. So I'm going to go back to my Budget 101 pages, and we're going to grab our monthly bill tracker, our subscriptions and memberships, and our budget categories page. We're going to copy those, and then we're done here. We're going to get back into this notebook, open up all the pages, and just paste them in. And they're right there. These pages are definitely going to come in handy as it comes to setting up things moving forward and being able to refer back and having these trackers available. The nice thing about digital is that you don't have to rip the pages out to put them in a new notebook. You don't even have to recopy them. Just copy and paste. From here, I'm going to get rid of that page because I don't need it. So we're just going to delete that out. From here, we're going to go ahead and get into the other pages that we need. So if you go to the Google Drive that I have linked, all of these pages are available. You don't need all of them just for the budget paycheck. This is for everything that I've created so far. So there are a few pages that we're going to want. So let's see here. I am going to go ahead and go through and pick out all the pages because there's quite the list. Look below in the description box. I will leave a list of all the pages that you need, and we'll meet back here in just a moment with everything we need to get started. Okay, once you've gotten those pages imported into your Noteful or GoodNotes or whatever PDF, or if you've printed them and you're doing this that way, we're going to need, so we have our cover page here. I just like to put one in between each month so that when I'm looking at like the full view, it's easy for me to spot where the month starts and if I need to go back and reference something. So we've got our cover page, we've got a calendar, we have a no spend challenge tracker. We've got our actual paycheck budget worksheet. This is the meat and potatoes of how this budget works. We also have our expense tracker, and I have a flexible category tracking page because I don't cash stuff envelopes, but I use the same system. So rather than keeping track of paper dollars, I keep track of everything here. So we can go ahead and get started filling this out for January. All right, so January. Okay, and I know that January starts on the 1st. So, oh my God, obviously January starts on the 1st. It starts on a Wednesday. So I'm going to go through and just number my calendar. And honestly, I like to zoom in because I feel like it makes my handwriting look nicer. And I like to go through and include as much of the next month that will fit. Just because as I'm planning ahead, usually the last paycheck of the month will pay bills into the next month. So I like to have that where I can see it and keep track of it a little bit better. And oftentimes, what I will do when I'm setting up 1 month is I like to set up the calendar for the next month as well, just because of those overlapping pay periods. So I know in January, I get paid every other week. Our first paycheck is going to be on the 3rd. I've got some cute payday stickers here that I got from Etsy. I am drawing a total blank on the shop that I got them from. So I will link that below if you want to use the same ones. So I will first go through and just not do that. Just flag all of, oh, there we go. Flag all of my paydays. Perfect. So this next step is then to take all of our monthly bills and to write them down on the calendar. So because I'm doing it all digitally and I don't have the availability to flip back and forth, what I will do, and I love this, is you can actually split the screen and open a second instance of the exact same planner. So I am going to get back in here. I will pull up, here we go. That's that. We're actually going to hit it landscape mode because it makes it a little bit easier to see everything. And then we just go from there. So I even need this even a little bit less. All right. Grab black so I can see everything really well. And then we're going to get started. So my mortgage. And I will write the amount here because it's important to go through. Once you get your paycheck, it'll make more sense. But I like to have as much information on the calendar as possible so I'm not constantly flipping back and forth for this information. My phone. And then every payday, I pay into our family grocery fund, which me and my husband both contribute to. So it's a fixed amount. And I also set aside money for my kids. They have the chance to earn chore money by doing chores. It's a whole thing, but I set aside the maximum amount that they can earn for the month. That way I always have it set aside for them. And whatever they don't cash out on, I put that into sinking funds. So I'll probably make a whole video about that. The water bill is a quarterly bill, and I know it's not due until next month. So we're going to skip over that one. Google is $2. That's right. Okay. If my car loan and a credit card through Capital One, they're both due on the same day. CapCut is a subscription. And then we've got groceries again. Or money again. The moving along. It's an automatic savings deduction for my bank, which keeps my direct deposit free of fees. HP Inc. Our insurance. And we also have Canva, which I use to create all my free PDFs, which I think I've made all of them that I'm going to need for quite some time. So I might go ahead and cancel that because I don't know that I necessarily am going to need it. Hulu, we were able to get Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max for a Black Friday deal, so it's only $18 a month, which is awesome. No, I wrote 17. I think it's 18. I'll double check. And then Alliant is my energy. And I have it as $195, but it actually went down to $185. We use the budget method where they like look at the last 6 months, take the average, and then charge you that, and then they reassess it. So it came down $10, which is awesome. And then the internet, we have Spectrum. That is 83. All right, and then that's it for the month. And then I've got my little gray days here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and fill in. This is the fun part about digitals. We can just duplicate that, move that down here because those are the same. And then I'm going to change it so that those are in light gray so that I know that those are for next month. And then a few more of these. So the third is going to be Apple. And then, so this one actually will be the water because that's February. So that's the first quarter water. It's usually around 220. And I have a sinking fund set up for that. So I think it'll be fully charged up, fully funded. So I won't have to pay that out of the paycheck, but I just want it on there so I don't forget. And then Google is on here. And that's going to be, okay. So that's the whole calendar for the month. So I am going to flip us back this way now. Close. All right, we're going to close off this guy because we don't need him anymore. And we're back in here. So the way this works next is now we want to assign every paycheck whatever bill it's going to pay. So I'm going to go in here. So I plan on, this will be from the clinic, and that's going to be my conservative paycheck. We're going to say the same for the rest of them for the month. So I'm just going to duplicate that, bring that down here, duplicate that down here, and then two, and this will be 3. Oh, some of these will have already been paid from December. So the mortgage is already paid. The phone will already have been paid. So really this is just picking up here. So what we're going to do is we are going to pick a color for the first paycheck of the month. We'll go with something wintry. You're cute. Okay. So this paycheck is going to be this pretty wintry color. So what I do, some people will highlight the whole thing. I just like to keep it clean and just make a dot by all the bills that this paycheck has to account for. So I also like to keep track of what's left so I don't assign too many bills and then I'm like, oh no, what have I done? So starting with that, so we've got the 2 from that, 100 for groceries, chore money. We're going to pay Google and Discover. So take that off, take that off. So we're also going to pay Capital One, pay the car, and I think I'm also going to pay Progressive. And let's also take care of the energy bill. So that leaves me with $220 remaining, which is just about perfect for my flexible spending, which we will get into here. And we'll see. I might take that back off and just see. But yeah, I'm actually going to go ahead. We're going to hold off on that because this is a 3 paycheck month. So So we're not going to pay Alliant just yet. We're going to save that for the second paycheck of the month. So the next step from here is to repeat that process for the remaining paychecks. I like to use a very different color so it's real obvious that those are different. So we've got these three. We'll pull the savings out of there. We'll do the HP ink. Doop, doop, doop. And I would like to pay the mortgage because that's too close for me. I don't want there to be a delay. So we'll do the same process again. So I've got CapCut, groceries, chore money, savings, HP ink. Oh, Canva is going to come out of there, maybe. Blue, Alliant. Oh, okay. See, and here I've got 784 with that, which means that's not quite enough to take care of that as well. That math. That math ain't mathin'. I might have timed something wrong. Hang on. -3, -100, -35, -25, -2, -15, 18. Okay. Yeah, that math ain't mathin'. So I think I will try to take this then. Ladies and gentlemen, budgeting in real time. So we will, I can't remember what color I used. Not that one. That one. So we will put Alliant there. And that will add back in, which will then make it possible to do that. Okay. So we're going to do that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to cancel Canva off there because I just don't think I'm going to use it, man. And then last but not least, we want to do it with the final paycheck in January as well. Obviously, we'll have chores and groceries. I just didn't write them. We'll pay the phone bill. Apple will come out of that. That's out of the sinking fund, and that's there. So let me add on. Okay. So there we have it. That's our first calendar all set up for January. If you wanted to go ahead and do February, you would do the exact same thing with all of the paychecks that are in February and just keep moving on from there. The next page is our no spend challenge. So I'm just going to grab my cute little January font, size them down. And then so for me, it's going to be no personal spending on my credit card because that has been a challenge for me. So just need to number the little piggies. And if you wanted to do a no spend out of your checking account or for whatever reason, the reason I didn't title this like no spend credit card is because I wanted to be able to use it for whatever you are going to want to track or, depending on like what account you wanted to work out of. It was nondescript so that you could do whatever. All right. So this is the actual paycheck budget worksheet. So once again, I am going to, well, there's some things I can fill out before we split the screen. So let's do that. So we've got January. And the paycheck date on this one is going to be 1/3/25. Good Lord. So for the income portion, I always have rollover from the previous paycheck. I usually try to keep a $50 buffer in my paycheck for anything that comes up that's unexpected or that I didn't account for. So the hope is that I always have that $50 buffer still intact. So my rollover is usually more, but we always account for $50. And then I have my paycheck, which we budgeted the $12.50. It's usually more than that, but I always aim low just in case I have to miss work or it's slow, I get sent home early. It's always better to go low and have extra than to have aim too high and not have enough, because that gets stressful. There's no reason. So I've got my rollover and my paycheck total, which gives me my income total. Next up, we have all of the bills that need to come out of this paycheck. So I'm going to once again split my screen because it just makes it easier. Pull up another instance of the budget. Oh, that's the wrong. Where'd all my stuff go? All right, we're going to do one of these guys again. And what we'll do is we're going to use this to fill in all of the bills that are due. So it's from this paycheck. And I will go in and give this a color here just so that, nope, with my highlighter. Because it's just visually easier for me to remember then that it's all of the bills that are in this color. So what we're going to do is just get in here with my black pen and start filling in the bills. So the name, the date, and the amount that I suspect is going to be due. So get into it. Okay. Groceries. And I will just go in order just to keep things easy. And the budget, I never do the cents. I always round up to the next dollar just because it makes it easier in the beginning when you're trying to do all the math and make sure you've got things where they need to go. When I'm budgeting, I never budget with the cents. I always do a full dollar, and I always do it conservatively. So round up for bills, round down for income. Got yeah. So this 77, this is the minimum payment that's due on that. And then I always make an additional payment towards my debt avalanche, which I'll make a whole other video about figuring out that. Right. The 23rd, 68, and then we did add a Alliant on here. 29. Okay. So now that we have those bills on there, we don't need our calendar anymore, so we can get back to full screen here. And then the next step is to total up our bills. $68. All right, so our bill total then is, okay, so then we're going to take our income total minus our bill total. And that gives us our leftover. So we're going to take our leftover, put that here. And then this is for our flexible categories. So flexible categories are ones that we figured out kind of early on. These are the variable expenses that are going to change every month. So the first thing that I will put down is my buffer. I always put that here because I feel like it sometimes is flexible. It's not a bill and sometimes I have to use it. So the buffer is there. I always have gas. I usually spend the same amount every time, but I always put it in the flexible category because sometimes it's different. I've got, what do I always put here? Fast food. Again, I can tend to be an all or nothing person when it comes to it. So if I got myself a little treat when I was out running errands and spend money on fast food, but if I didn't have it, I'd be like, well, the whole thing is screwed up. I might as well just go ham and get whatever I want. So the fact that I set money aside for fast food means it's never bad spending. It's never being naughty. It's accounted for. It's in the budget. I set money aside for that. So I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm spending money that I had allocated. I also do the same thing for personal, which is going to be anything that's, just for me. If I want to get a book on my Kindle or a video game or makeup or anything like that, personal spending, there's space for it. So I don't have to completely deny myself or make sure that there's no additional spending or anything like that. And then I always set aside too for the kids. Because who knows? They're kids. They need stuff. So then what I'll do, is that everything? I think, yeah, those are the main categories. You might have more categories than that if you have things coming up. Like if it's a month that I know I have to take the dog to the vet, I would set aside money for that and account for it here. Or if you have a doctor's visit coming up, you have a copay and you need the health category, you would put that there. So flexible categories are always changing, but it's just so you can kind of keep track of what's going on. So then I will add up my flexible categories. So it's 150. I don't need to use a calculator for that. So then I do the 270 minus 150 is 120. Right? Why? Let's just be sure, y'all. Yay, 120. Okay. So, this is always the moment where I'm like, is that correct? I think that is correct. So, let me think. So because I'm trying to pay off my debt as soon as possible, but I'm also trying to establish my emergency fund. So this last week I had unexpected car expenses, which I had to put on my credit card, which I was super bummed about. And had I had an emergency fund set up, I wouldn't have had to use my credit card. So I can see the value of establishing an emergency fund first. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this extra leftover towards that emergency fund. So I'm not necessarily going to put anything in sinking funds. I'm not going to make a debt avalanche payment with this paycheck, but I am going to put it into my emergency fund. So I'm going to take my leftover 120 and I'm going to put that in my emergency fund. Okay, so that gives my savings 120 and my leftover is 0, which is perfect. So I do zero-based budgeting, which means that my income minus my bills, minus my flexible categories, minus any sinking funds, debt, or extra savings should equal 0. That doesn't mean that I have to spend every dollar. It just means that every dollar has a home. So the next step from here, once we have this figured out, is I'll wait for my actual paycheck to come. I'll put in my actual rollover, my actual paycheck amount, and then start paying bills. I like to pay bills as soon as my paycheck hits the bank because that way it's just done and over with and I don't have to keep track of it. I don't have to worry about it. I will refer back to my budget category colors and I will start coloring things right away so I know where that money is going and what category it is for. I'll even do it here. So I know I've got, these things are all accounted for. So groceries, we've got personal, I'm going to jump around. I've got fast food, got, oh, that one's gas. And if you don't have your colors memorized, go split screen. You can always jump back and forth. Okay, chore money. I've got subscriptions. And then, yeah, the rest of these are all bills. Where's my poo brown color? And then, to make it easier, in theory. All right, and we're just going to go ahead and color the rest of these in. And then my kids. There we are. Okay. So now that that's all done, all that's left is to set up these categories under my flexible spending categories here. So this is for January, and I just like to use the same little cute guy across all of them. And this will be for the 1-3 paycheck. So this is where I will copy over these categories into here. So I've got personal, and that was a budget of 25. We've got fast food, $5. And then since my gas, I usually just have to get gas one time per paycheck. I don't necessarily keep track of that, but I do want to keep track of my buffer in case I spend money out of there. I just want to make sure that I am keeping track of it and I'm aware. I'm going to highlight because we love a colorful page. Okay. So that's our flexible category tracking. And then last but not least, we have our expense tracker. So this is the page we're going to come across the most once we have all of that work done. So I will always make a note about, if you have multiple categories, especially when you're digital budgeting, a lot of people will use multiple bank accounts to spend out of. So I have my credit card and then I have a checking account. So this is going to be my Capital One checking. And we're definitely going to make that smaller. Oh, okay. Look how cute. Oh, y'all. And for 1-3. 2, what's the date on that? 1/16. Okay, because this is just for this paycheck only. I did leave space on the side here so that if you wanted to create like a cheat sheet for your expenses, I've actually made one. I have to change the colors a little bit, but that way you can just keep it on the side of your page and have it there as a quick reference as you're filling things in. So my expense tracker will always start with the rollover from the account, whatever money was in the account right before my paycheck posted, my paycheck, and then I start with my bills and stuff. So once we get that paycheck in, I will show you all those steps from there. So, she was a long one, but we got it, baby. We got it. So we are all set up for the first paycheck of January, which is very exciting. It's a new year, fresh month, fresh paycheck. We're going to get at it. We're going to make some great progress. We're going to set goals. We're going to smash them. We're going to manifest money into our accounts. We're going to have overflowing bank accounts, credit card debt going down, savings going up. It's all happening. So let me know what your biggest challenge is with a paycheck budget, or if you have any questions about this process or anything like that, hit me up in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got a lot more videos coming. The next video, I'm going to show you how I set up my savings and debt notebook, which is specific for keeping track of credit card payments, investments, net worth, savings, long-term debt, short-term debt. All of it goes in that other notebook. So stay tuned and we'll see you soon.